Welcome to, the ultimate rap battleground, I guess you could call it.
Mm,
We're going to try to settle, or at least seriously overthink the question of, which city reigns supreme
yeah,
in the whole world of hip-hop.
right.
We're looking at a really interesting online poll that ranked the top cities for rappers.
Oh, wow.
And it's pretty clear people are really passionate about it.
Yeah.
This isn't just who has the most famous names.
Right.
It's about, regional pride and musical legacy.
Totally.
Even some serious underdog stories.
It's fascinating to see how people connect their sense of place to the music they love.
Yeah.
It's like these votes are almost like claiming bragging rights
Mhm.
for a whole city
Yeah,
and their contributions to hip hop.
for sure. And we actually have some real surprises in the mix.
Yeah.
Obviously you have your the big hitters,
Right.
the cities you'd expect to see at the top,
Uh-huh.
but then there's some underdog cities fighting for that recognition too. So before we even dive into the data, I got to ask you, if you were building the ultimate rap crew,
Okay.
where would you scout first?
Oh, man. That is a tough one.
Yeah.
I think to answer that, we really need to unpack what makes each city's rap scene so distinct.
Right.
Is it the sound, the stories, or a mix of both?
It's probably all of that.
Yeah.
Let's start with a trip to the East Coast,
Oh,
home to, some of the biggest names in hip-hop history.
sure.
We've got two titans battling it out,
Oh, wow.
New York City and Philadelphia.
Yeah, you can't really talk about hip hop without mentioning New York.
Right.
It's like the birthplace of the genre. It's
Yeah.
given us legends like Biggie, Nas, Jay-Z, 50 Cent.
Yeah.
I mean, their impact is undeniable. You can
Mhm.
still hear their influence in like rap music today.
New York's got that swagger, that gritty street sound that defined a whole era of hip-hop.
Yeah.
But one voter said that Atlanta's scene right now is more impressive.
Whoa.
Kind of like saying that
Yeah.
a rookie quarterback is already better than Tom Brady. You know what I mean? That's a hot take.
Yeah, it's guaranteed to start a debate.
It really shows how hip-hop is not stuck in the past.
Right.
It's a living, breathing art form.
Mm-hmm.
And Atlanta's current dominance on the charts definitely makes them a major contender.
Oh, for sure. We'll get into Atlanta a little bit later.
Okay.
But sticking with the East Coast for now,
Yeah.
it seems like Philly's coming in as the underdog.
Yeah.
A lot of voters are saying that the city is overflowing with hidden talent.
Interesting.
And they're name-dropping rappers like P&B Rock, Lil Uzi Vert, even Lil Dicky
Wow.
to prove their point. What do you think gives Philly that underdog energy?
I think Philly has always had that gritty underground scene,
Mm,
a little rougher around the edges than New York's polished.
Right.
It's a city with a raw energy and a hunger to prove itself.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that translates to the same global recognition as New York, who knows?
Yeah.
But they've certainly got the talent,
Okay, now that we've felt the heat on the East Coast, let's head west.
where the battle is just as fierce,
Right?
especially when you've got LA, Compton, Oakland,
Mm.
the entire Bay Area,
Wow.
all vying for that top spot.
The West Coast has that undeniable connection to gangster rap.
Yeah.
Los Angeles is often seen as the heart of that movement.
For sure.
One voter even said that NWA alone justifies LA being number one.
Wow.
It's hard to argue with the impact that Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, and Eazy-E had
Right.
on shaping the sound and the stories of hip-hop.
Yeah, I mean, NWA brought something raw and unapologetically real to the music.
Yeah,
Their influence is still felt to this day.
definitely.
But Compton, just a few miles south of LA,
Right.
is often considered the actual birthplace of gangster rap, with Eazy being a central figure in that story.
Yeah.
And some voters believe that Compton deserves to rank even higher than LA.
That's so interesting. It really shows how these specific locations
Yeah.
become like intertwined with musical genres. You hear Compton
Yeah.
and you instantly think of that hard-hitting West Coast sound. Yeah,
It's more than a city, it's a symbol.
absolutely. And then you've got Oakland with its ties to Tupac's early career
Right.
and its own unique gangster rap scene.
Uh-huh.
And of course, the Bay Area as a whole is always in the conversation.
For sure.
Voters were praising its diverse contributions to hip-hop.
Yeah.
What are some of the key things that the Bay brought to the table?
The Bay Area is really interesting because it's not just one sound, You've got everything from hi-fi, that high-energy party music,
Yeah.
to conscious rap, which focuses on social and political issues.
Okay.
And then, of course, you have that classic Bay Area funk influence
Right.
that gives it that distinct groove. It's a real melting pot of sounds.
Okay, so we got the history and the street cred of the East Coast.
Yeah.
The raw power of the West Coast.
Ah.
But now it's time to head south.
Okay.
Where the beats are different, the flow is unique, the energy is just
Totally.
southern.
The South has absolutely exploded onto the hip-hop scene.
Right. In the last couple of decades, it's
Yeah.
almost like a whole different world down there, musically speaking.
Right. We've got Atlanta, Houston, New Orleans, Memphis,
Wow.
each one bringing a distinct flavor to the table.
Right.
Where do we even begin?
Well, Atlanta is often considered the modern-day hip-hop capital. The place where aspiring rappers go to make it big.
Uh-huh.
Honestly, looking at the charts, it's hard to argue with that.
It's true. A lot of voters were talking about Atlanta's dominance on the charts.
Yeah.
The incredible number of successful rappers that they've produced.
For sure.
I mean, you've got Gunna, Playboy Carti, 21 Savage, Future.
Uh-huh.
The list goes on and on.
What's interesting about Atlanta is that they've managed to create a sound that's so undeniably influential right now.
Yeah.
Talking about trap beats with those heavy 808s and the syncopated hi-hats.
Yeah.
Paired with this like melodic flow that's just super catchy.
Right.
It's a formula that's been incredibly successful, and it's shaping the sound of mainstream hip-hop globally.
But Houston isn't backing down. They're known for their chopped and screwed music.
Oh, yeah.
That sipping on drink culture.
Right.
Legendary groups like Screwed Up, Click, and Swishahouse.
For sure.
I've always been fascinated by chopped and screwed.
Yeah.
How did that sound even come about?
Chopped and screwed is such a unique sound.
Mm-hmm.
It involves slowing down the tempo of a song
Uh-huh.
and then like manipulating the vocals,
Yeah.
creating this kind of psychedelic hypnotic effect.
Right.
It emerged out of Houston's car culture,
Okay.
where people would play their music loud and slow in their cars.
Makes sense.
It's a sound that's both innovative and like deeply tied to the city's culture.
That's like the music itself is sipping on syrup.
Yeah.
Slow, smooth, totally hypnotic.
Totally.
And then you have New Orleans bringing that undeniable bounce energy.
Oh, yeah.
Some voters are adamant that they deserve a spot in the top 3,
Right.
pointing to Lil Wayne's global influence and the impact of Cash Money Records.
New Orleans has always had this raw, almost chaotic energy that comes through in their music.
Yeah.
It's a blend of bounce music
Right.
with its infectious beats and call and response vocals mixed with street rhymes that tell the stories of the city.
For sure.
And Lil Wayne, with his incredible wordplay and charisma,
Yeah.
he definitely put New Orleans on the map for a lot of people.
And then we have Memphis,
Right.
a city that birthed both crunk
Yeah.
with its high-energy party anthems
Yeah.
and horrorcore, which, as the name suggests,
Right.
brings some darker, more sinister elements into hip-hop.
Totally.
Legends like 3 6 Mafia really paved the way for both of these subgenres.
Yeah. Memphis has always had this gritty, uncompromising sound that's captivating. It's
Yeah.
not afraid to be different, to push the boundaries of what hip-hop can be.
I'm noticing a trend here.
Yeah.
It seems like so much of what makes a city's rap scene unique is that regional flavor,
Oh, for sure.
the culture that seeps into the music
Yeah.
and gives it its identity.
Absolutely. It's about more than just the beats and the rhymes.
Right.
It's about the stories being told, the experiences that shape the artists, the energy of the city itself.
Right. We've hit both coasts, made a stop down south,
Yeah.
but there's still a whole lot of map left to cover
Right.
and a whole lot of hip-hop to unpack.
I'm ready.
Me too.
And then that brings us to a region that's often overlooked in these conversations, but has a rich hip-hop history all its own. The Midwest.
Yeah.
We're talking cities like Chicago, Detroit,
Right.
both of which have made major contributions to the evolution of hip-hop.
The Midwest often gets overshadowed by the coasts,
Yeah,
but you can't deny the impact that they've had.
for sure.
So let's dive into that Midwest movement, starting with Chicago.
Okay.
What makes their scene stand out?
Chicago's scene is raw, intense, and undeniably influential.
Yeah.
They're credited with pioneering drill music,
Right.
which emerged in the early 2010s and quickly gained global attention for its hard-hitting beats and often dark, street-focused lyrics.
It's intense.
Chief Keef was a major figure in the rise of drill,
Right.
and you can hear his influence in the music of artists like King Von and Lil Durk, who are keeping that drill sound alive and evolving.
Real definitely has that unmistakable sound.
Yeah.
But I think what's cool about Chicago is they've got so much range.
Right.
You've got the intensity of drill,
Yeah.
but then you also have artists like Kanye West and Chance the Rapper,
Oh, yeah.
who are pushing the boundaries of what hip-hop can be,
Totally.
both musically and lyrically.
It's that mix of gritty realism and artistic experimentation that makes Chicago so captivating.
For sure.
And it's not just about the music itself.
Right.
It's about the stories that these artists are telling. They're giving a voice to a city that's often overlooked and misunderstood.
Now let's talk about Detroit.
Okay.
They've got a totally different vibe,
Yeah.
but their impact on hip-hop is undeniable. A lot of voters were highlighting the storytelling aspect of Detroit rap, and I think that's a really important element of what makes their scene so unique.
When you think about storytelling in hip-hop, you can't ignore Eminem.
Right.
His journey from battling in Detroit's underground scene
Yeah.
to becoming a global superstar
Wow.
is a testament to the power of personal narratives in music.
Absolutely.
Voters praised his lyrical skills,
Yeah.
and it's clear that his ability to connect with listeners on an emotional level, sharing his own struggles and triumphs, resonated deeply with the audiences worldwide.
Eminem is definitely in a league of his own when it comes to lyrical storytelling.
Yeah.
But Detroit has other talented, though often underrated artists.
Right.
Like Obi Trice and Royce Dibb, 5'9".
Oh, yeah.
What would you say sets them apart?
Detroit rap has this authenticity, this grittiness that reflects the city's history
Yeah,
and the challenges its people have faced.
for sure.
It's music with heart, music that speaks to the realities of life, in a place that's seen its share of hardship.
Okay, so we've explored the powerhouses,
Yeah.
the cities with long established legacies in hip-hop,
Right.
but now I'm excited to dig into some of the underdog cities,
Oh, yeah?
the ones that might not be the first to come to mind when you think of hip-hop,
Okay.
but they are making serious noise in the scene.
Interesting.
We're talking about places like Toronto, Cleveland, and Seattle.
What's so exciting about these underdog cities is they're challenging the traditional hierarchy of hip-hop.
Right.
They're proving that great music can come from anywhere,
Uh-huh.
and they're bringing fresh perspectives and sounds to the genre.
Let's start with Toronto,
Hmm.
which has seen a meteoric rise in the hip-hop world.
For sure.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
Drake single-handedly put Toronto on the map for a lot of people.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that his success has paved the way for other artists from the city to gain international recognition.
Drake's impact on Toronto's music scene is undeniable.
Yeah.
He's become a global ambassador for Canadian hip-hop.
Right.
But what's even more impressive is how he's fostered a sense of community and support for other artists from the city. You got Party Next Door The Weeknd.
Yeah.
And a whole wave of talented rappers and singers coming out of Toronto,
Cool to see.
bringing their own unique sound to the global stage.
And then we have Cleveland.
Oh, yeah, Cleveland?
One voter boldly claimed that they have more talent per capita than NYC.
Wow.
That's a big statement.
That is a bold statement.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's definitely a bold statement, but Cleveland does have some serious talent.
Right.
They've got their own unique sound. And artists like Machine Gun Kelly, or MGK as he's known,
Yeah.
are breaking through and gaining mainstream success while staying true to their Cleveland roots.
Okay, let's talk about Seattle.
Okay.
They often get labeled as underrated,
Yeah.
but they've had their share of mainstream success
Right.
with artists like Sir Mix-a-Lot and Macklemore.
Mm-hmm.
What makes their scene unique?
Seattle's hip-hop scene has always been a bit more introspective and experimental
Yeah.
compared to some of the louder, more aggressive styles that we've seen in other cities.
Right.
They're known for their lyrical skills and storytelling, often weaving in social commentary and personal reflections.
Yeah.
And while they've had mainstream successes,
Right.
they've also got a vibrant underground scene that's constantly pushing the boundaries of what Seattle hip-hop sounds like.
It's amazing how each city we've talked about has its own unique fingerprint,
Yeah,
musically speaking.
it really is.
But what about some of the other cities that got shout-outs in the poll? Places like Nashville and Pittsburgh.
Okay.
They might not be considered hip-hop hubs,
Right.
but clearly they've got something going on.
What this poll highlights is that hip-hop is truly a global phenomenon.
Right.
It's not confined to certain cities or regions anymore.
Yeah.
It's a language that's spoken and understood by people from all walks of life. And you're seeing these pockets of creativity popping up in unexpected places.
That's true.
It's a testament to the power of music to transcend boundaries and connect people.
Yeah, it's like this amazing cross-pollination of sounds and cultures.
Exactly. And that's what keeps hip-hop so fresh and exciting.
Right.
It's constantly evolving, drawing inspiration from different sources,
For sure.
pushing the limits of what's possible.
So we've traveled from coast to coast, explored the sounds of the South,
Yeah.
ventured into the Midwest and beyond.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. We've covered a lot of ground.
Right.
But one thing's for sure, this debate about the top rap city is far from over.
And that's the beauty of it, right? There's no easy answer.
Yeah.
No definitive winner. It's
Yep.
all subjective.
Right.
It comes down to what resonates with you personally.
For sure.
But what we can say is that hip-hop is a rich tapestry of sounds, stories, and experiences.
Yeah.
And each city brings its own unique thread to that tapestry.
I think that's a perfect way to sum it up. This deep dive has been an incredible journey.
It has.
It's really made me appreciate the sheer diversity and creativity of the hip-hop landscape.
It's been a pleasure exploring this with you.
Same here.
It's always fascinating to delve into the origins and influences
Yeah.
that shape the music we love.
Before we wrap things up, though,
Okay.
I want to leave our listeners with a challenge. We've talked about these major cities, these hip-hop hubs,
Right.
but I think it's important to remember that great music can come from anywhere.
That's so true. And with the internet breaking down barriers,
Right.
it's easier than ever for artists from smaller towns, even rural areas, to connect with audiences and make their voices heard.
So here's the challenge. Go beyond the familiar names,
Okay.
the chart toppers, the mainstream hype,
I like it.
dive into the underground scenes, the local heroes,
Yeah.
the artists who are grinding it out in the cities we've talked about and beyond.
I love that challenge because, honestly, that's where you'll find the real heart and soul of hip-hop. It's about digging deeper, expanding your musical horizons.
Right.
Discovering those hidden gems that resonate with you on a personal level.
It's like going on a musical treasure hunt.
Exactly.
You never know what amazing artists you might find if you just venture off the beaten path a little.
Exactly. And you might even discover a whole new sound,
Yeah.
a whole new style of hip-hop that you never knew existed.
Okay, so we've explored the map of hip-hop.
We have.
From the East Coast to the West Coast, down to the South,
Right.
into the heartland of the Midwest.
It's been a journey.
It has. We've debated the merits of different cities,
Yeah.
dug into the history and the culture that shapes their sounds,
Uh-huh.
and celebrated the artists who make each scene so unique.
We've also seen how hip-hop is constantly evolving,
Right.
pushing boundaries and defying expectations.
Yeah.
It's a genre that's always on the move, and that's what makes it so exciting.
So what's the final verdict? Can we definitively say which city is the top dog in the world of hip-hop?
I don't think so. And honestly, that's kind of the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
This isn't about crowning a champion.
Right.
It's about celebrating the diversity, the passion,
Uh-huh.
the constant evolution of hip-hop across the globe.
Well said. It's about acknowledging the pioneers who paved the way,
Yeah.
the innovators who are pushing the boundaries,
Right.
and the next generation of artists who are carrying the torch and taking hip-hop to new heights.
It's a reminder that music is a universal language, and hip-hop in particular has this incredible power to connect people,
Yeah.
to tell stories, and to inspire change.
And on that note, we'll leave you to continue your own hip-hop exploration.
That's good.
Go out there, discover new sounds, support your local artists,
Yeah.
and most importantly, keep the music alive.
Until next time, keep those speakers bumping and your minds open to the endless possibilities of hip-hop.